shift gears a little bit on Conor McGregor though, because we've been talking about how his inactivity and like poking him with a stick do a thing. I think he's the one who's been trying to be active, and they've got some very specific lane they want him to be in, or some timing that they're trying to fulfill, because he just seems more and more upset that he's not fighting, and he's talked about it a lot.
They've never treated anyone. No one's ever been treated. For all the figures I've brought in this game, I sell more than all of them combined, I sell more than every one of them combined. No one in the history of the fight games ever been treated the way I'm getting treated at this minute, Through what I came through, through what I bring. Gonna shoot up in floodgates for me, And I'm waiting. My patience is wearing thin on me waiting,
So the interviews I saw, he's more and more upset he's not getting paid enough. And well, that is the interview.
I mean, he seems like the kind of guy that would just fight for any reason, though. Like he's down the pub, someone pisses him off, he's fighting.
I mean, I heard him say, like, no one in the history of the UFC has been treated as poorly as I have. They
not talking about money though.
That's how I read it. Yeah.
He's upset because he's been trying to fight for a while, and they keep sidelining him, and they won't give him these fights because they, I guess, need to promote him in a certain way to be profitable. Or they have some idea in mind of what they want him to do. He has to fight Chandler. Like he's signed.
I mean, I've seen him talking about money. He's basically saying he wants to get paid. He's like, for all I've done for this company, I should be getting paid more. This is really what he's paraphrasing.
Okay. That's not what I've been taking from the recent interviews at all. It's been that he really wants to fight, and he's saying either basically make me a UFC fight or let me fight Pacquiao, because that's what he wants. He's like, and it seems like he's spinning wheels, and he almost said it out loud. He like stops himself. He's like, I'm trying to have a fight here before it's too late, like before, while I'm still me, he's trying to, and he's running out of time. I think the months have turned into years, and the years have turned into more fucking years since he's and he keeps talking. I know it's bullshit. And he's like, I want to get back in there. I want to face the best competition in the world. I want to have 5 fights. And he's like, no, you don't. You don't want 5 more fights against the best. I heard
he wanted 100 more.
Today he said, if this was boxing, you'd set me up with somebody who wasn't so good when I came back. You wouldn't throw me right into the lion's den of the top 5. But this is MMA, and that's that. But still, I guess it's got to be Chandler.
If they throw him in against someone shit, and then he's not as fit as he once was, and he loses,
he's just fit.
Yeah, but it's like he hasn't fought so long. Like, what if he does lose? That they've lost a massive asset. If they throw him in against like someone good and he loses, they could just be like, oh yeah, he was just a better guy in the day, and then they can use him again.
They don't see it that way. He needs to win his next fight, or he's done. I think. I don't think he can take another loss and then continue down the road. He needs to win his next fight. So I think they should throw him in against, a Diego Sanchez or a Tony Ferguson type. Yeah.
Bad.
Just sacrifice someone to him.
Yes. You give him a warm-up fight, and then 4 months later he has another one, but not like the best of the best, like a journeyman, a guy who's maybe tasted top 10 before, or maybe he is top 10. Diaz works. Diaz is washed as fuck. Conor smokes Diaz.
You just put him in the way of someone that's like a rising
Neither
star,
of us.
Like someone that's going to break into the top 5, and then you say, okay, before you get into the top 5, you've just got to like run over Conor McGregor, And
I think Slush's idea is better, and I don't know that he smokes Diaz. I will admit Diaz is washed. He lost to which Paul brother? The younger one. Thank you. Yeah, he lost to Jake Paul. Diaz is not the Diaz of old. Okay, so we agree, but we have no idea what Conor is. All we see is Conor is a drunk guy riding on a bicycle. Like, we haven't seen Conor fight effectively.
I saw him knock his sparring partner out the other day. Like that's what I saw that. Like I see his physique.
I knock me out too. That doesn't mean Conor's Conor.
I see his physique staying good, even though he's now being tested, staying big and fit. And yeah, he looks old. He's getting old. He's in his late 30s now. He drinks. He's Irish, and it's a flash. It shows every wrinkle, and he's an older man. He's wrinkled up. He smokes cigars. He drinks whiskey, and he's a pale Irish fucking white man. He's not going to age well. Plus, he's been losing his hair for 5 years at least, maybe more. And but I think his physique looks good. And when I see him move around, it's like, that's a professional fighter. Okay, I don't think he's going to go in there and contend with Islam fucking He-Man Makachev.
Yeah.
He'd fucking destroy him, but
I don't know. To me, Conor's a big question mark. I don't feel like you can watch him in sparring or anything. The dude hasn't had a good fight. When was his last good outing? And I don't want to count Cowboy. 2016 or something.
Yeah, probably. Well, that's his
How old
last
is he?
win.
Like 40 now?
No, 37, I would say.
Oh, okay.
yeah, he's like a couple of years older than me.
He's washed. He's going to look like Chuck Liddell in his comeback next.
That's old for
Ah.
37, 38. Like that has to be fucking old for a fighter.
Especially he's
older
light.
for a fighter.
He's 35. He's in the light weight classes. He was at his best at 145 and 55. And you have to be young and fast. If he was a heavyweight, he could be older.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The other problem is
Heavier
though he fought for so long at a lower weight that putting him into like catch weights to go higher, he's probably fucked.
Yeah. So Conor has power, right? He always had power. 145, 155, he had dynamite in his hands. At 170 or 185, I don't know what he'd fight at now. Everyone has the power that Conor did. Like he can get knocked out now. He won't have that power advantage at 170.
Oh, he can't. He wouldn't fight. What he'll fight is, well, he's going to fight Chandler. It's done. There's no getting out of it. Chandler won't allow them out of it. Chandler hasn't fought in like 2 years waiting on Conor. They agreed to fight, and the 5th ranked fighter in the world hasn't fought for 2 years because Conor said he would, and so he's sitting there like, fucking waiting.
It's pretty retarded that you can stay at number 5 after not fighting for 2 years.
The whole ranking system of that shit is dumb as fuck.
Yeah, like you should have to have fought within the last year or something.
I want them fighting
eligible.
I want them fighting like weekly. That's what I want to say. Okay. I want a proper fucking.
We'll run out of fighters quick.
That's true. The NFL they play every week.
We can breed more. It's fine. There's fucking heaps of them. Yeah. Heaps of drunk cunts at the pub want to fight.
I would be happy with 2, and I'd be thrilled with 3 fights a year, and you get it from almost no one. But there's a few guys out there that do run around and
do you think they're like erring too much on the side of not fighting? Because like fighting every 4 months, 3 times a year, that does not seem prohibitive.
That's what you do when you're up and coming and you're trying to get as many fights and as much money. And
I think it's the training and like and the weighing regimen is what fucks them, because they're dehydrating themselves, they're fucking their body. It's very hard to come back from that. Like you can't just fight next week because you've just
and like you said, they spar hard and train hard for like 12 weeks, 8 weeks leading up to the fight, and that's rough too.
Yeah, so
if you just cut off the weight limits, just open and then just fucking fight every week. Go for it. Just free for all. Just have one.
It'd be interesting to see who the toughest guy is. I'd love to see that. That's how UFC used to be. It started without weight classes.
It's going to be the biggest guy. Like there's no way that a middleweight is going to beat like the best heavyweight.
Yeah,
but if he's fighting every week, he'll probably have a heart attack eventually, you know. And then
they did.
Taking him out.
John Jones just like did that, right? John Jones
Isn't he a heavyweight?
But he was a light heavyweight his whole career, and then he went up and like choked out the heavyweight that stood before him, and like what was a minute? It's that picture where the guy looks terrified, and John Jones is walking away going shh. And over his shoulder is a choked out, gigantic black Frenchman who looks scared. Like it was a
black Frenchman.
Yeah, I don't know. I would. There's
is that his name?
Cyril Gagne or something close to that. I'm bad with names, but that's
I was trying to jump in.
Yeah,
no, you did great. You did great. Ngannou's a person too.
Thank you. He's a fighter. He's one of my favorite fighters.
He definitely is a black guy that fights.
Mm-hmm.
We were close.
Dude, his style, it's like hard to define.
He's got heavy hands.
That's how I got it. Just heavy hands. That guy's fucking limber, quicker than you'd expect, with a difficult to define fight style.
No, I don't think the biggest guy would be the toughest guy. They've done freak fights like that a lot. So in Pride, they used to do more freak fights than they do in the UFC. It was in Japan, and they'd have big guys fight little guys. Hoist Gracie would fight sumo wrestlers, shit like that. Yeah. And the big guys didn't win much.
I always like those like 2v1 fights where it's like 2 little guys against like one massive guy.
I haven't seen much of this.
Yeah.
What I have seen...
There's a wicked one where a guy's like wearing a suit and he fights like 2 little guys and he's just like beating the fuck out of him. It's hilarious.
Like a suit and tie, I think?
Yeah, he's just wearing like a suit and tie.
I saw a fight in Pride. So back in the early days when people were still figuring out like how to fight and what was good, this guy shows up in a gi, right, which is the karate pajamas. Probably everyone knows by now. And he's in Pride and he's fighting. And because he always trained in a gi, he was used to using it as an offensive weapon, right? Grabbing his own sleeve, choking you, etc. You know, he would just, they like untie their belt and start wrapping I don't know what the shirt tail part of the gi is called, but they'd wrap it around your arms and use it. Okay. Well, he gets like 5 minutes into this fight and he realizes that the gi is helping his opponent more than himself. So he's like, fuck, I've got handles all over me. They're grabbing me. They're controlling me. I need to take. So mid-fight, he starts taking his gi out. And the guy knocks him out while he's getting undressed and the fight's over. That's it.
No, that's sporting. I don't like that.
That's what I said. And then I was training at the time. Everyone else in the gym was like, no, Woody, you're an idiot. It's fighting. There's no timeouts in fighting. That's just how it is. So
I don't like that.
This is one of my favorite videos. It's 3 women versus one really fat guy in MMA, and he tuckers out pretty quick, but it's still pretty funny to see 3 gals going at him. Yeah, I like freak fights. And instead of Dana White doing this fucking slap, whatever the fuck it is, I wish he had. According to him, it's the biggest sport on the planet.
Mish says that.
Wait, yeah, like maybe for like the biggest sport in like half skip TikToks, maybe. Who gives a fuck about slap fights?
Dude, these women beat the fuck out of the fat guy.
Yeah.
At the end, he holds up. It looks like there's 3 teeth and they're still connected. I haven't seen that before.
Oh, maybe he had a piece that goes. Sometimes there's a
lot of hockey players have that.
Like that. Yeah, you can take that out for a fight.
Not this guy.
You'd hope so.
The fighting that I'm not sure if I'm interrupting anyone, but the fighting that gets me all wild is the 5v5s. Like if you've seen that stuff, it is brutal. It's like good fair fights, 5 at a time for about under a minute. You know, like people kind of pair up and find like fair fights. You know, maybe we're not all the same size, right? After 1 minute, somebody's lost. So now there's a 2v2, and that guy quickly loses. Now there's a 2v1. Now there's a 3v1 because they're short. And at the end, it's like 4v1, and it's just wrecking somebody. And when one guy valiantly tries to take on 4, I want to be like, take a knee, tap out.
But I tried to fight 5 guys at once. I know it was about 21.
Did you win?
I fucking certainly did not. But I was walking down the street and 5 guys jumped out of a car and one of them I was sort of had my back to them and I heard slapping footsteps running up behind me and I was like, oh fuck.
The clowns?
No, just like the slap of footsteps like running behind you.
I just
pictured 5 clowns getting out of a very tiny car and the slapping of their big oversized honking.
Just beat the piss out of
it. That's so funny now.
I got confetti flying out of my nose and shit. Yeah. They
want to know how we all fit in this car. Because we're clowns.
So one of them hit me and he hit me in the nose and broke my nose. And so from then, I'm fighting with like a broken nose, and all 5 of them were just wailing on me. And I didn't go down to the ground, but I definitely did not win. You cannot win a 5v1. I don't care how fucking big you are. Like that's
true. That's just too many hands to block.
Yeah. All I could do was just cover my face. Like I was trying to throw punches, and it was just like the second I moved my arm to throw a punch, it's just getting punched in the head repeatedly.
Did they rob you?
No, they didn't knock me out or anything. They eventually just got back in their car and ran away. So
they hadn't squirted him with that flour, he'd have had his hands.
Yeah. I mean, I probably wouldn't want to touch me. I was like covered in blood and shit after I got punched.
Punch me right in the mouth and then pulled 30 yards of tied together bandanas out of my nose.
I had a coworker who won a 3v1. So the coworker wasn't even that tough. Like he was a computer programmer, but he was kind of big and he's fat but big. Mm-hmm. And the people he was fighting were small, and there were 3 of them. And somehow they like got on top of him, and he's like belly down on the pavement, and there's 2 guys on top of him, and they're like ineffectively hitting him. And he realized like, but they're small. So he just stands up and goes, like that. And they both come off him and then like reset the fight. And he ended up, I guess, coming out on top.
I like those video game fights online where like not like a real fight, but it looks like a video game where like the big guy will realize nobody knows how to fight. There's one video of this of a guy, big guy, kind of fat, but also like mostly big, like a football player, wearing a Hawaiian shirt with all the buttons down, and like 4 guys are coming after him. And like early in the fight, he starts throwing like hold X for power attack style. Huge. Like you can see these punches coming a mile away, and he's just hammering people with it. Sometimes like hitting them with part of the forearm and like knocking them back with just the amount of force. Those are fun. Amateur fights are honestly for me fighting as a sport. Amateur fights are more fun to watch for me as professional fights. Whereas if it was like, hey, do you want to watch this minor league hockey game? It's like, no, I want to watch the guys in the NHL, the best of the best, like show their stuff. Football, every other sport, you want to watch the best of the best. Fighting, amateurs can be the absolute best fights.
Yes. Yeah, they're the most. My favorite fight is this. It's when one guy's tough and he very much wants to fight. And on like a fighting talent and toughness and physique scale, he's like a 7.5 out of 10, right? A guy that most people wouldn't want to fuck with. But it just so happens that the other guy is a sleeper, right? He's a regular person who barely wants to fight, you know, and like the one I'm thinking of in particular, all the tough guys, the actual tough guys' friends are like, you don't want to do this, bro. You're making a mistake. You don't fuck with Louis over here. Louis's a fighter. And the guy's like, I'm a fucking fighter too. I want some. And it's like, they're all okay. So the guy comes in and he's squaring up, right? So like he's got his hands up, and it's like the sign of a guy who's maybe been in a fight before or even had some training. And the actual fighter is it nonplussed? Like he's like not excited. He's okay. And the guy goes for a fight and he immediately head kicks him. That's his opening move. He head kicks him. The guy, the semi-tough guy drops, and it's just like, fuck. He had a hole in his defense, and the other guy spotted it immediately, executed.
They might fire. I like seeing a guy try to fight, and then it's some nerd, and then it turns out the nerd just knows like some kind of obscure type of kung fu, and then just pulls some ridiculous move on and just fucking executes them immediately. I went to school with a guy who was really into like his martial arts and stuff, and he did all the ridiculous ones like Bushido and stuff like that. But he knew how to do those like big like fucking sweet chin music kicks and shit like that. And I remember when we turned 18, we went out to town drinking, and we'd all just graduated from high school, and we all got fucked up, and some guy had something to say to him, and he kicked him in the face, and it was just amazing because this guy's the biggest nerd ever. Like he ended up going on to be a lawyer, and he just looks like a fucking nerd, and he just sweet chin music this random dude in the club, and it was just awesome. Like one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Like if someone stood there and presented their chin to me like a 6 foot tall man and was like, kick me in the face, I'm like, can we try this like a month from now? Like, I'm gonna need some
I probably have more chance
I'm still probably flexible enough to do that.
I probably have more chance of kicking myself in the face than being able to kick someone else in the face.
I
wouldn't do it well
either. As you age, you guys are all young, but athletic ability is taken from you, but you're not notified that it's gone. You think you're the same person. And I'm like, yeah, kicks to the head, I could do that. I probably can't. I probably can't.
I'm dreading that.